All right, good stuff. So where are you at right now? Are you in Southern Ontario? Are you trained somewhere else? What's the scoop?
Yes, Southern Ontario, training at Niagara Top Team in St. Catharines. So yeah.
Good stuff. I'm out this way as well in Southern Ontario, so loving the weather today. Have well, let's just get started actually, because I think this is a I don't want to say a bit of a surprise, but I think a lot of people kind of envisioned that you might get another shot on the Contender Series coming up, and here we are seeing you on the PFL Challenger Series. So first of all, just tell us how this opportunity came about.
I would say just patience and hard work behind the scenes. So just I wanted something big. I wanted a big opportunity, and I keep beating people on the regional scene. Um, I believe that was a dominant performance my last fight, and just being patient. I didn't really have a fire under me fighting on the regional scene anymore, and something big was out there, and of course, and thankfully PFL was there. So.
Well, glad to see you back here, and I know the fight was announced in early January, I believe. So I'm assuming you probably got a little bit of notice before that. But when did you find out, and how is camping going for this one?
Good. It's been I always train. It's not like I have a camp and that's when I start getting ready. I'm always ready. It's just when you get a name, and that's when you kind of game plan a little bit. But other than that, I'm already in shape. I feel great, and it was probably maybe early December I found out about an opportunity. I believe I was like a replacement or a backup at the time. And then they called me again and they said, "Yeah, you know what? We changed our mind. We want you on the show." So
Well, glad to see you on it. Getting passed up on the Contender Series, even though you got the win, did that kind of light a fire under you as well?
oh, of course. I'm also thankful for the opportunity. Like, I'm glad I was able to display my skills in that show against a high caliber opponent and feel that type of pressure at a young age. I believe I was 22, turning 23. So who knows where I would have been if I got into the UFC fighting these high caliber guys. Maybe I wasn't ready. Maybe who knows. So I'm thankful I got time outside of the UFC or bigger promotions to kind of grow as a fighter. And I believe now is the time. I'm 25 years old, turning 26 the week after the fight, and now's the time.
Absolutely. Still just kind of entering your prime right now. You mentioned not really having a fire lit under you fighting on the regional scene anymore. How much of a detriment is that to not have that kind of feeling, not have that motivation? Like, was there going to be a point where you said, if it's just the regionals, I'm done? Or was it just you were certain that you were going to get this big opportunity?
I was certain I just needed to push for it. Um, I was getting opportunities for regional shows. It didn't make sense to me. Like I'm at a point where I feel like I'm at the top of one mountain and I'm ready to jump to the next one. But it didn't make sense. Like they were giving me guys who are these top level wrestlers and these top level strikers, and then they're gonna give me $1,000 to fight, and I'm like, it's not worth it, man. Like I own a gym. I make more money with my gym just doing all that stuff, and but now that I have the opportunity to perform for a big show, and be compensated for it, it's what I love to do, and that just matches together, and it makes me happy. So this is worth it for me to display my skills and perform. So.
Absolutely. And obviously, the matchup here with Tony Caruso, what's your take on him and what he brings to the table?
Yeah, I keep saying it over and over again. He's a great opponent. He looks strong, durable, as everyone is in mixed martial arts. Everyone's pretty tough out there, or they like to think they're tough. So he seems like a good guy. Hasn't said any hurtful things to me, and so I like to think I'm a nice guy too. So I'm excited to perform and share the cage with him. But of course, I always have that positive mindset and knowing that I'm going to win that fight that night and I'm going to get that contract that night as well.
So, with that in mind, how do you see yourself getting the job done on February 17th?
I like to say by knockout. I kind of have like that addiction coming from my last fight, that feeling of taking someone's soul. It's crazy. It's hard to describe. Like I said earlier, I'm a nice guy, but that feeling is just something else that it's no one else really gets to feel other than myself.
You talk about the nice guy angle and the no trash talk. Is that kind of the Canadian in you coming out a little?
I guess I don't know. I think that's just how I am as a person. Um, I don't see there's any purpose, and it doesn't help me to talk someone down. Um, it's just the way I am. I'm a happy person.
So you're not someone who gets fired up with the trash talk or extra motivation or any of that. This is essentially, and I think a lot of fighters coming up now. This is the sport. This is a business. It's not a lot of personal grievances at this point, right?
Yeah, if the guy wants to talk, then that's fine. Like I said, he hasn't said anything to me, so I respect him for that. But if he does, it doesn't bother me at all. It's just kind of like I'll just take it up in the cage and fix him up from there. So, but yeah, it doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah, and good point. You're going to fight eventually. It doesn't really matter either way once
Yeah,
that door is closed. You mentioned your gym, Genius MMA and Fitness, and you've worked with Niagara Top Team as well, obviously, who have just a lot of killers kind of coming up at the same time right now. And Aaron Jeffrey and Jasmine Jasudavicius and Tisha Guthro has been on a couple of LFA cards, and obviously yourself. I mean, what's kind of the key to all the success coming out of that gym right now at the same time?
I believe it's just hard work. Just hard work, putting your head down and just working. It's not about. There's no egos in the gym, right? You go into the gym, you're just like everyone else, and you just got to go work hard and push through the practice, perform, and just get ready. And I think that's what a lot of us are doing. We're just like I said, no matter if you're in the UFC or it's your first amateur fight, you're all the same, and we just work hard together. So thankful for the coaches there, for Chris Prickett, Matthew Marcantonio, just putting a solid team together at Niagara Top Team.
Well, it's absolutely great to see, especially for the sport in Ontario. I mean, what's your take on Canadian MMA right now, and even just MMA in Ontario? Because during the pandemic, obviously, it was kind of a low point. We didn't see a lot of shows. The UFC hasn't been here since 2019. Bellator and the PFL haven't been here for ages. PFL has actually never been to Canada. Bellator hasn't been since like 2015. We've seen a couple more kick back up. BTC is back. PFC is back. But what's your take overall on Canadian MMA and MMA in Ontario right now?
I think it's just building everything back up. We had a lot of solid legends fighting out of Canada that were in the UFC and all that. We had a couple people in the UFC. I don't know, and now they have like people Canadians fighting each other in the UFC. So I don't know if it's just something against the Canadians that they don't want us in these big shows, but we also have a lot of Canadians that are doing well. Like see the champion for the PFL, he's Canadian, right? We have a lot of Canadians in the UFC now with Jazz and Mike Malott, and then Bellator. We also have Josh Hill, right? Aaron Jeffrey. So we're on the way up. It's just winning these fights, these big fights, because there's regular fights out there like the amateur fights, stuff like that. But these big fights that people are watching, those are the important ones that we need to make sure we're winning because those are the ones that is going to get our name out there. So
Absolutely. You mentioned the PFL champion, Olivier Aubin Mercier, the lightweight champ. That could potentially be something you've got to look forward to.
of course, eventually down the road, I'm excited to fight everybody, whether it's the champion or not the champion. There's Anthony Pettis, there's Clay Collar, there's Olivier. There's lots of guys in there, and I'm excited because you can't say no. Right, these guys can't say no to me. They've had a bunch of fights. They're legends in the sport, and now they have to fight me. So I'm excited to get there and be able to compete against these guys.
I know it's kind of putting the cart before the horse because you've got to go through this Challenger Series fight, you've got to get the win, and you've got to get the contract. But does the prospect of fighting on a regular schedule that the PFL offers, does that appeal to you? Even though in some cases it might be a quick turnaround, you're going to know exactly when you're fighting and potentially who you're going to fight.
Yeah, yeah, of course. I like having that schedule ahead. Of course, like you said, I need to win this fight. I need to get the contract because I could win, and maybe not get the contract like last time. But yeah, who knows what lies ahead? But I'm excited to be able to perform against those guys, and I like the idea that you don't need to talk your way to the top. It's you have to work hard and win your way to the top, just like every other sport. Um, and I'm excited to be able to do that. I'm pretty good at winning, and I'm not much of a talker, so it works for me.
Well, you have been good at winning, obviously. I believe you are 11 and 1 in your career. Obviously, the win on the Contender Series, and that probably gives you a bit of insight into, being under this kind of pressure with a contract on the line. When it comes to securing that contract, though, does the thought kind of sit in the back of your mind, hey, I'd better go out here and get a big finish, put on a show? Or is it just, like you said, go out and get the win? That comes first. Everything else kind of falls into place.
The performance has been the big thing for me the last few fights. Performing has been a big thing. That's all people talk about is the performance. Even if a guy loses, they talk about his performance, that it was an awesome fight, fight of the night, something like that. Um, Obviously, I want to win, but I want to perform too, and I want people to know why I belong with the top MMA fighters in the world.
Good stuff. So, last one I'm going to ask you, Anthony, and then I'll let you go for the day. I think this is kind of obvious because you got the PFL in front of you, you got the contract opportunity. But if you look further ahead to the end of 2023, what is the goal for you this year?
Become PFL champion. I believe once I get that contract, I get into the season, I win a couple fights and against that playoff and become champion. It's happened. People have gotten to the finals from the Challenger Series, but I believe I can do it. So it'll happen.
Absolutely. Delano Taylor did it last year. Hopefully, Anthony the Genius Romero this year. Anthony, thanks again for the time today. Looking forward to the fight. Looking forward to seeing you in the regular season.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks very much. You have a good one.